Hi everyone, welcome another week to our Spanish live lessons. The topic for this week is going to be how to learn Spanish on your own. So we're gonna give you some tips on how to use our site to learn Spanish. As I always mention, if you have any comment, any question throughout the lesson, you can leave your comments and I will be reading through them. So don't forget to do that. We're gonna wait for a few minutes for more people to join us over on YouTube and Facebook. So hope that you're looking forward to today's lesson. Like while we're starting, I would like to know if you have any, what is your way of studying? How do you structure your studies? What do you do to study Spanish right now? And whether you think there's something that you would need to take more care about. I'm curious to know your strategies. Maybe I can learn also something from you guys and put it into practice to improve my language skills also. I see that there are some people already joining us here over YouTube. Rohit, Mohammad, Frank, Sabina, Ali, Daniel, Jay, Cody. No, I haven't. No he visto Godzilla. I haven't watched Godzilla. Sorry. Coco, Mohamed, and Gamer. So hola, gracias. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Eric also is joining us. Sorry, so Tunka is saying that my handwriting is not very good. I apologize for that. I also needed to squish everything I needed to write here because today we have the screen to show you the site apart from the whiteboard, so it was a bit difficult to put them all together to fit in the screen. Sorry for that. So Jelly also joining us. Thank you, Sabahat, Kioya. So Daniel is asking us, how long would it take to become fluent in Spanish? Well, I mean, how do you measure that, right? Like, how much is being fluent? I think like learning a language is how do you say? It's like a marathon. Like it's a long process. So you cannot expect to become fluent in just like a few months, but of course, like the more you practice, the better you become. So, and someday you won't notice and you'll be able to hold a normal conversation with other Spanish people. So, just because it's a long process, like don't give up and keep studying because it's gonna be worth it in the end. So, as I mentioned, today we are gonna teach you how to learn on your own. So, as I always say, it's not enough just to come here right on Thursdays and learn for half an hour. It's important to keep learning on your own throughout the rest of the week. So we are gonna teach you how. Before starting, I wanted to mention that we have a very special promotion today. If you enter the link, I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but it's SpanishPod101.com/pretty big deal. So if you go to that site, you can get a 31% off and get all the audio and video lesson, all the content we have on our website. So that's a great opportunity. So I invite you to go to the website and check it out. We are gonna start teaching you like how to learn on your own. For that, we are gonna recommend you our site. I don't know if I might be covering it on the screen, right? Our site, SpanishPod101.com. And also we have an app for mobile, iOS or Android. It's called Daily Dose of Language. So here it's the website. So for the application, it's SpanishPod101.com/dailydose. So from here you can download on the App Store, available on Amazon, Google Play, and you can get the app to have it on your phone wherever you go, whenever you have some time, like you can dedicate it to learn Spanish. So really, there's no excuse to improve your Spanish every time that you have 5 or 10 minutes. So yeah, that's where you can have access for the app. So first, like, we're gonna give you some tips to how to structure and make your own plan to study Spanish. I'm worried that I'm covering the whole time the screen, but I mean the first point would be to create a schedule. I think I should move here, right? So the first point is to create a schedule and make time. So sometimes you hear all that you need to add, right, to your routines, to your habits in order to get something, but sometimes you don't hear that as important as it's adding good habits, it is also important to say no to things, because you need to make time, right, for the things you want. So it's not only about adding, it's also knowing about what you need to say no to. So that would be the first point. Like, you need to make sure that you have time, that you can really add it to your routine, that is not going to be something very stressful, because if it's something really stressful, in the end you are just going to give up, right? So you have to try to do it like in the most comfortable way possible. So yeah, first would be to say no to something and to make time, and then of course to show up. So there are a lot of studies like saying how just setting like 5 minutes at first can make you adopt that habit, and in the end you'll end up dedicating more time to it. But if just right at the beginning you set up, I don't know, half an hour or 1 hour of studying Spanish, it's too much, right? Like from 0 to that. So make it small. You just have to make sure to show up, even if it's just 5 minutes. Because when you get used to those 5 minutes, you'll even want to stay for a bit longer and do maybe 10 minutes. So yeah, that's what I would say. Don't really worry about making these huge plans at the beginning, like studying every day 1 hour or something like that. Just make sure that you have some time and show up. For that, what I recommend you is we have a lot of audio and video lessons on our site. I'm gonna get more into detail about these two a bit later. But yeah, a lot of our audio and video lessons are just 3-5 minutes. So yeah, it's no time. Like, you can just give a listen and watch one of the video lessons, and you'll have done like everything you need for the day. At least for the beginning, right? So, and the other thing that I recommend you is using our app, like Daily Dose of Language. So not only through the app you can have access to the content, also, as I'm going to show you now, like you can also see the content on our website. We have 2 sites. So there's the Mexican Spanish Daily Dose of Language. It could be the address, like the online address could be SpanishPod101.com/calendar. And then if you want to have access to the Iberian Spanish Daily Dose of Language, what you need to add to the /calendar is /es. So there's those 2 sites, depending on whether you are more interested in learning Mexican Spanish or Iberian Spanish. Of course, there are some differences in phrases, in vocabulary that we use either in Mexico or in Spain. It's not like they are completely different languages, right? So, you can just choose one and keep learning through that, and then maybe a bit later you can start learning the differences between the Spanish spoken in the different countries, like some of the phrases and vocabulary. But yeah, maybe at first you don't really need to worry that much. As I said, not only on the website, you can also download the app to have access to that content. So yeah, I'm gonna show you the content for today. So here it is. So you see that here it says like today. So the content changes every day. So that's a good way. Like you don't really need to think right every day what you want to study. You just need to open the app or open the site, and every day you'll have new content to learn. So that's very comfortable, right? Like not really having to think yourself which lesson to do or what to study. Well, here we see on the bottom that we have the date for today. We can also like listen to it, so we learn how to pronounce it.
23.
So 23.
Mayo.
Mayo is May, and today is
Jueves.
so jueves is Thursday. So you have the date on the bottom, and then here it says vocabulario que necesitarás para acampar. You can also
Vocabulario que necesitarás para acampar.
have a listen to it, and it's here the translation. Vocabulary you'll need to go camping. So you can click on the arrows. You have here some essential words for camping are. So you have some examples in Spanish. You can listen to the audio to learn how each word is pronounced, and then you have the translation in English below. So for example,
Bosque.
bosque is forest.
Tienda de campaña.
So tienda de campaña is tent.
Fogata.
Fogata, campfire. So we can like keep clicking, and then you get some phrases related to camping. So not only vocabulary, but whole sentences that you can maybe apply, right? If you're in this situation of going camping somewhere in Spain.
Hay que acampar aquí.
So hay que acampar aquí. Let's set up camp here.
¿Puedes prender una fogata?
¿Puedes prender una fogata? Can you start a fire?
Creo que estamos perdidos.
Creo que estamos perdidos. I think we're lost. So yeah, if you see, like on the bottom, you have also a recommended video and an audio lesson. You can click here. So yeah, you have the video lesson here. Normally it's something related to the content that you have on the app. Here, learn vocabulary for Australian animals. Why not, right? Related to the outdoors. So yeah, you have here the vocabulary that you need, and also the audio, so you can have a listen and know how they are pronounced in Spanish. And here also you have a recommended audio lesson. As I said, it changes every day, and they fit a bit like the content of the rest of the content of the app. So yeah, that's a good way to complement it. So learn about the types of food sources you can scrounge up in the Peruvian tropical forest. Quite specific, right? But yeah, this one is a bit more advanced. Yeah, of course, as we have also showed you in previous lessons, like in our site, you have audio and video lessons for all different levels. If one is too basic, too advanced for you, you can like do a little search, and you'll find like tons of content that will fit your level, that will suit your level. So yeah, that's very useful. So that's it for the daily dose of Spanish, and so, as you can see, it's a really good way to just learn for 5 minutes or so every day, and not really having to think, right, like which content you need to study today. So yeah, that's it for the first point. We talked about creating I'm gonna change again from here. Create a schedule and make some time. Then I'm gonna, in other lessons we've talked a lot about goals, right? Because it's quite important when you want to like structure your study plans to have some small, measurable and daily goals. So yeah, I wanted to repeat it here. If you just set the objective, like the goal of being fluent in Spanish, it's too overwhelming, right? Like, and you cannot even like measure it because, as I said before, like what is being fluent? Like when do you reach it? Like what is it that mark being fluent or not? So you really need to be specific about this. If not, yeah, it can be really overwhelming and you'll feel like giving up, right? So for example, you can say, I want to do 2 lessons a week, or yeah, I want to use the daily dose of language every day. I want to learn, I don't know, like 100 words of vocabulary every 2 weeks, or yeah, you have to be very specific. It's important, as I wrote here, like to know what to do, but also when to stop. Because it's important to feel at the end of the day that you've accomplished something, that you've advanced a little bit. If you don't really set yourself some limits, it always feels like you haven't done enough. And if you keep feeling like that day after day, of course it's going to be difficult to keep up doing that, right? So you have to set some goals, but you also have to set, in a way, like some boundaries for yourself, so you don't overdo it and end up feeling like in the end you're not really doing anything. So yeah, that's important, to know what to do, but also to know when to stop. Before like continuing with the third point, I wanted to remind you that we have a very special promotion now going on. You can have a look at it here at this address, like SpanishPod101.com/pretty-big-deal. You can get a 31% off of our learning system, so you can have access to all the audio and video lessons that we have on our website, like with a very special price, as low as $6.90, I think it was, a month. So yeah, make sure that you take advantage of this. So yeah, that's it. And we're like, after talking about setting these small measurable daily goals, right? The third point that I wanted to talk about today is maximizing the language input. So input, right, is listening and reading. Output, so it's more like the passive way of learning a language. Output could be what you produce, right? So it could be speaking and writing. Of course, it's very important to do a lot of output, but the amount of work it takes, it's very different, right? Like input is a lot easier. So when you are starting, in order not to feel too overwhelmed, it's important to maximize all that you can, the language input, and then little by little you can also start like producing more like output, speaking more and writing more. But to start with, yeah, I think it's very important to listen to as much Spanish as you can to get used to it. Of course, that it's not possible for everyone to go to Spain or to go to Mexico or to learn Spanish there, right? But I mean, with all the technology, with all the material we have online, like you can create your own kind of environment in which you listen to a lot of Spanish, so that it becomes more natural to you to listen to it, and you get used to all the sounds and all the constructions. So yeah, that's very important, to listen as much as you can Spanish. For that, I mentioned before, right, that you can use either our daily dose of language app, and that we also have a lot of audio and video lessons. So now I want to talk a little bit more about the audio and video lessons that we have on our website. Well, as I mentioned before, like input, right, is a lot easier. So it's easier to consume these video lessons. So it's not going to take that much work for you. So yeah, to begin to study, when you are starting to learn the language, it's going to be a lot easier for you to just right? Like click play on the audio video lesson, like consume that content, and start practicing with it. So another reason, apart from them like being very easy to consume and they are very available, so is the fact that they have a lot of practical dialogues. So as I mentioned, then after all this input, it's important also to start like speaking and writing. And all these dialogues that you learn through the audio and video lessons are very practical dialogues. So you can start putting them into practice right away when you are trying to speak Spanish to some of your friends maybe. So yeah, that's a very good way to then review them and make them last in your memory. Because if you are just listening, right, and not practicing, maybe they won't stick as much. But if you start practicing them, I'm sure that all of that you're learning is gonna stay with you for a lot longer. So yeah. I have here like one audio series and one video series that I would like to recommend you. We are gonna take a look at them now. As I mentioned before, like of course the level that you might have might be more advanced, intermediate, right? Like than the rest. I cannot really know from here. So I'm gonna recommend you this series, but of course, if you see that they are too easy for you or too difficult for you, you can go on our website, test your level, and then decide which lesson fits better your current level, so that you can keep pushing it a little bit more and learn more and more Spanish. So yeah, I think I'm gonna sit here again. It's a bit complicated today with the screen and the whiteboard. But I hope that you can more or less see. So yeah, I'm gonna show you first the audio. So top 25 questions you need to know. So it's here. So as you see, we have, in this series, we have 25 lessons. So in total, it's 2 hours and 34 minutes of audio lessons. I don't know, I can choose like any of them. Like for example, how long have you been studying Spanish? So I can click on the lesson. And here we can listen to the lesson. We don't have time today to listen to the whole lesson, but you just need to click here. And if you want to know a lot more in detail, like all the sections we have in here, we have done a previous lesson on that. I'm gonna show you like a little bit what we have here. You have, for example, the dialogue, breaking down into sentences, so you can listen to each of them. Sometimes if you're starting to learn Spanish, it's a bit overwhelming, right, to get a whole dialogue at once. So it's a lot easier, right, to have every sentence, and then you can listen and listen to it again and on a loop until you know how to pronounce it. You have here the English translation. Here you have both of them. You have here the vocabulary that appears in the lesson. I'm not gonna get into detail, but you can add to your flashcard decks, to your word bank. Also practice the vocabulary with a slideshow, taking a quiz. Ooh, what happened? Remind me later. Okay, wanna see. Did I close it?
It moves sideways. Yeah.
Sorry for that. So yeah, here we have also some lesson notes. The whole lesson is transcribed here. So as you can see, it's all broken down into pieces, so you can really understand everything that is included in the lesson. So yeah, that's great. Either if you are starting to learn Spanish or if you are more advanced. Like sometimes the audio lessons can be a bit complicated. So yeah, it's good to have everything written down, and also you can like see how everything is spelled and all that. So that's it for the audio lessons. And now I'm gonna talk a little bit about the video lessons. So the series that I noted down here is Learn Spanish in 3 minutes. So here. So this is a very good one also if, as I mentioned before, if you just want to study like with 5 minutes of studying Spanish, if you don't really want to overwhelm yourself right from the beginning, this is a very good series because it's 3 minutes. You play it, 3 minutes, and you're done. And you've studied Spanish for the day, so it cannot get better. Also here in this series, it's comprised of 25 lessons. So you see you have all of these. For example, I don't know, making apologies. We can click on here. So we have the video lesson here. It's starting. But as I mentioned, we don't really have time today to play the whole video lesson. You can do it at home later. So here also we have all the important vocabulary that appears on the video lesson. You can review it here, listen to it, normal speed. Also you can listen to it a bit slower if you don't really, get the pronunciation correctly. You have also that option. So here, you have all the vocabulary listed. Here you have also some lesson notes that explain to you better all the grammar that appears throughout the lesson, all the vocabulary, also some language tips. You can download that as a PDF if for you it's easier to print it and to review it on a physical medium, not only through a screen. And you have also the lesson transcript here, so you can know everything that is said on the video. You can know how it is written and everything. So I don't know if you have any question here. So D. Thomas said that he's been practicing through an app for a year, but he's not confident enough to speak to someone. Yeah, I know how it feels. It's always the hardest, really, to speak to someone, because as I mentioned, there's a big difference between the input, what you listen, what you read, and then the output, which is what you produce. To produce something, you really need to take a lot of things into account, all the grammar and everything. But as with everything else, it's a matter of practice. You can maybe start a bit slow. Maybe with these lessons, what you can do is try to repeat the dialogue. So not really speaking to someone in real life, but at first just trying to create your own dialogues at home so that you become at least used to creating those sentences, to pronounce them. You will start feeling a bit more confident, and then I'm sure that you can start talking to people, and from there your Spanish is going to get a lot better. So good luck with that. I know it's hard. But it's a process, and you can get there if you put enough work into it. So that's been the content for today. I explained to you a little bit how to use our site to study Spanish on your own a bit every day. That would be the ideal, right? So I talked a bit about creating a schedule and make time to study Spanish, then set small, measurable and daily goals, and then to maximize all you can the language input, listening to all Spanish that you can. So and before saying goodbye to you all, I wanted to remind you that we have a very special promotion. If you want to have access to all these audio and video lessons I've talked about, you can go to SpanishPod101.com/prettybigdeal, and you'll get a 31% off of our subscriptions. So you can start learning Spanish as the price is, I think it gets as low as $6.90, so that's a really good opportunity. I hope that you take advantage of that. And I'll hope to see you also next week, so it would be the 30th of May. We are gonna talk about frequency adverbs. So I hope that you look forward to it, and I hope that you study a bit of Spanish every day until we see each other again next week. Thank you everyone very much for keeping me company today, and hope to see you next week. Bye, hasta luego.